What's up, YouTube? Today I want to talk about the tendency that our society and the lamestream media has to politicize political issues such as the shooting sprees that have been happening throughout our country lately. And I just think it's inappropriate how they take it and just run with like a tragedy for somebody's political agenda. And I want to go back and look at the Gabby Giffords shooting, the Tucson shooting that everyone refers to as the Gabby Giffords shooting. But I want to bring up some stuff now that Loughner's back in the news. Do you know a federal judge was also killed in that shooting? A federal judge from the Arizona district, John Roll, was shot. And I want to talk about how Clarence Dupnick, the sheriff, said right in a press conference that there is video footage, there's security cameras of this. It was at a Safeway, a grocery store, and I think most of you know most of these grocery stores have cameras, and the FBI has that in their custody now. And I'll put some links to some of this information below, but they were saying that it was likely not to get released until the trial, and now that Loughner has just pled guilty, there probably isn't going to be a trial, or there's not, I suppose. Which I think that's kind of goofy too, that he was incompetent for trial for a whole year there, and all of a sudden, oh, he's guilty, he just pled guilty, he's good to do it, let's ship him off to jail. And, you know, I know people kind of don't like to talk about conspiracy theories and whatnot, but this was the assassination of a federal judge. You know, I think this is a matter that deserves investigation, and right now I just want to say, the video evidence that the FBI is holding, the camera footage from that day, needs to be released. People need to be able to see that. And I was reading some comments on some I guess news articles, different places about people wanting it released, and some people are like, oh, that's sick, who would want to see footage like that? I don't want to see footage like that. I think most people don't want to watch this like some gore film that Hollywood might sell you, but I want to see what actually happened. You know, this is not, there's no other reason for it. I don't believe what I hear on the news nowadays. Like, yeah, that's it. I don't believe it. I think we need to be skeptical of these stories. And, you know, this is more than a Gabby Giffords shooting, which I'm skeptical of a lot of things here for a lot of reasons, and I don't want to just be some conspiracy theory kook ranting when I'm saying this. Like, let's release the tape and let's see what actually happened, because there are witnesses that have given the reports. You can find it on YouTube, and the stories are kind of contradictory, and they don't really make a lot of sense. Like, there were other people with guns there. One customer came out of Walmart. He had a gun in his pocket he was talking about when he took the safety off, and he was about ready to shoot the guy. And then he grabbed him or something, and it turns out everyone was like, no, that's the wrong guy. So there was another customer, or not customer, a guy in the parking lot who had a gun too, who must have been waving it around or out, maybe ready to shoot whoever's shooting up a crowd, or I don't know. But that, you know, that's something we need to look into. Like, a lot of people want to publicize, oh, there's mass shootings, we need to, it's a gun control ban. You know, like, oh, we need gun regulations, all sorts of liberal media people are calling for gun restrictions and registration, or they don't even say, they won't say specifically, like, what do you want changed? You know, what gun regulations could have prevented this, you know? In the Loughner case, the Gabby Giffords shooting, it's interesting to note that he bought the gun legally 6 days before the shooting. You know, a lot of people want to have gun control or gun waiting bans, you know, time periods you have to wait for background checks or whatever. And one, I think the technology is there to do a thorough background check in a matter of probably minutes, but at least hours, like definitely same day. And two, a lot of people, you know, don't really realize that they need a gun until something happens. You know, like a girl might get a stalker or something, and all of a sudden, for the first time in her life, be like, wow, I want to buy a gun today, and I don't want to wait for it. I just think that's something we need to consider, like waiting periods. You know, I don't even see what the upside is. I think we can do the background check immediately, and, you know, we don't, whatever. But, like, you know, so many politicians and Mayor Bloomberg and all these mayors that I see on CNN who want gun control or gun regulations, they're not specifically saying what they want. Like, is this a magazine count? Like, is this the amount of ammo that you can legally carry, or, you know, semi-automatic weapons, or waiting periods, or age restrictions? You just want to tax it more? Like, what practical regulations could even be put in place to prevent some of these shootings is something that I want to ask. And I don't think, you know, I think this is just one of those things. There's more guns than there are people in this country, and it's the Second Amendment right to bear arms. You need them to protect yourself from any idiot who gets a gun. But these mass shootings, you know, the mainstream media just, I don't want to use the word glorifies, but they publicize the shooter. You know, they make them famous. And in Columbine even, there is video footage of it that was released eventually. And I think the Freedom of Information Act needs to get the footage from the Safeway security cameras and any other footage that they have of the whole Tucson shooting and see what actually happened. I think this is valid, and I think people need to investigate it. You know, it is a politicized issue that I think gun control people, like, I think there's a hidden agenda there. I'll just say it. That's what it is. And I could go off about the many reasons, but I think it's easier to say, let's look at the video footage, and that's the fastest way to confirm this. Clarence Dupnick, well, part of the reason I think that too, the sheriff, and I watched the, after the event, the first day of the press conferences, and it's goofy. I couldn't even find footage of it on YouTube. I looked for an hour or two today, but I remember thinking that, like, it was over the top, off the wall. Some of the people just automatically, like, you know, like their daughter just died or whatever, and oh, this has to do with clip size. I can't believe we don't have laws against, you know, semi-automatic weapons or magazines or whatever. Like, it just seemed over the top to me. And, you know, it could be real, it could be wrong, but it's something we need to address. We live in a day and age where people don't trust the mainstream media, and I don't, for one, either. In this Colorado shooting recently, one of my friends, we were talking about, oh, you know, he's obviously guilty, blah, blah, blah. He needs to get shot or put in jail. I don't remember what he wanted, but I was just saying, you know, there needs to be a trial here. The dude was wearing a mask, right? He came in, threw off some smoke bombs, was wearing a mask. I don't know if anyone in there got a good look at this dude's face. And all of a sudden, that guy's out in jail just looking totally doped up or out of it, you know, like, I'm not sure that the government isn't just finding some fucking patsies here, finding idiots or whatever, getting them doped up, or mentally ill people. Like, where are these people's friends? Where's Loughner's friends? Where is, I don't even know the guy who just shot up Colorado. Where's his friends? And this recent one, the Sheik Temple or whatever it is, just recently in Wisconsin. You know, first the media is talking about how, oh, the guy is he had a Remember 9/11 tattoo on his shoulder or something. And now today I'm hearing him talk about, no, he didn't. Like, what? How do you mix that up? You know, are you just reporting nonsense that you hear, or is this propaganda? Is this to instill ideas in us? But that whole story is iffy. There's also videos on YouTube where people are saying there were 4 gunmen in there. And I don't know. I don't know what to think, and I don't want to just be out crying conspiracy theory. What I want to say is if there's video footage of these attacks, we need to look at it and analyze it and have a practical conversation. There's so many people calling for gun control that, you know, if you really want to do that, one, amend the Constitution properly, but don't do this propaganda bullshit. You know what I mean? Don't, I can't even explain it. Clarence Dupnick, the fucking sheriff out there at the Tucson shooting, went on to, and he's blaming political vitriol, or rhetoric, basically. You know, I looked that word up, but it basically means cruel or bitter criticism. And think back, this is that whole Sarah Palin with the crosshairs on the rifle or on the map or whatever. Like, they're talking about how conservative Tea Party people, blah, blah, blah. Like, they're blaming the rhetoric. And there is extreme, I don't even like to use the word extreme rhetoric. There is very diverse or alternative opinions forming right now. When you look at, like, the anti-war, there's videos, too, of Gabby Giffords' office. And there's big protests outside about 9/11 truth, about, you know, is there evidence that Afghanistan attacked us or Iraq attacked us? What's up with these wars? Like, she was under a lot of pressure back in, I think, 2009. And it's something that really needs to be examined. I personally, when I look at it, I don't know too many people who get shot in the head with a 9mm and just live through it all fine. And I hate to say it, I mean, this sounds rude, but it's what it is. This is my opinion, and this is why I want the evidence, because it seems suspicious to me. And I think we can very easily put an end to this. Like, there's so much polarization between people, conspiracy theorists and non-conspiracy theorists. People think that the government blew up the World Trade Towers, or the elements within the government are Zionists or whatever. And some people think it was jihadists. You know, it's like, we need to stop just, oh, we're not going to debate this, we're not going to talk about this rationally. We need to get the facts, and we need to have facts to base our politics and our discussions around. You know, we can't just be each having our own side of this. But Clarence Dupnick, the sheriff, wants to blame it on rhetoric. Let's look at what actually happened. I don't know, but I think it needs to be examined. You know, like in this Sheik shooting too. This is all I want to say. Islamophobia is a real problem that the mainstream media is promoting. Like, it's totally cool to be, oh, Muslim bashing. Muslims are extremist, radical Muslim, Islam, what's the word? Islamicist or Islamists. Like, they just go off. It's all fear tactics. It really is. Like, Islam, I don't know. They're not over here causing problems, in my opinion. When there's... I'm trying to cram this under 10 minutes, so we're about to end here. But one more thing about government regulations and gun control. They didn't stop the Fort Hood shooter. You know, they didn't stop those guys in Afghanistan who just went rogue and shot up a whole village of people. Like, I don't think depression or a lot of these mental disorders are very clearly diagnosable. Like, I take issue with the whole psychiatric industry. I think they push pills and shit, and I don't like the idea that they can just be like, oh, you're not allowed to have a gun because you're mental or you're whatever. You believe in 9/11 truth. But let's release the tape. Freedom of information.